Hello, my name is Maria Besupova and you're at my channel Fertilizers Jazz. Here we talk about events, trends, technologies in the world of fertilizers and agriculture. Please subscribe to the channel, put like to this video, and let's jazz! Today I would like to uncover for you a topic which from the first sight seems to be quite obvious, but is not like that in fact. I would like to discuss role and place of a trading company in the supply chain of fertilizers. You would say, come on, what is here to discuss? Obviously, the traders are a necessary part of the game. Yes, but you would be surprised how many times during 15 years of my career in fertilizers, I was asked about it by many different parties, including our end consumers. So first of all, I think it is important to put together all these parts and show the full chain of fertilizer supply. And then in a series of discussions to unveil the role and place of each chain link. So here is this chain. It all starts from a producer, which produced a fertilizer at its plant. Producer is located somewhere at our planet and needs to find buyers globally. The classical next link would be a trading company that purchases from a producer and takes the burden, at least partially, of finding tens and even hundreds of buyers all around the world to sell the fertilizers produced. Next comes an importer at each geographical market that purchases product from a trading company, imports it to its home market, and paves the way of fertilizers' domestic sales. Then product is purchased by a distributor, which usually has a distribution chain inside the country and brings fertilizers closer to the end consumers. If the country is large, likely we will see regional distributors as a next link of the chain, which are the closest counterpart to the end consumer. And at the end of the day, after all these moves, fertilizers reach their final destinations, which is farmers' fields. All this process is supported by dozens of service-providing companies, such as finance providers, transportation, insurance, port and inland warehouse operators, and many others. There can be plenty of mixed constructions, of course, like in-house traders of the producers or importers, distributors at the same time. Each link of the chain has its own value, sometimes not as obvious, and each operation has its cost, of course. Today, we start with uncovering the trading link, and I am extremely glad to host a super cool guest, my ex-colleague, a super professional in fertilizers trading, Ilya Motorygin, co-founder of GG Trading DMCC. I am happy to welcome you, Ilya, and thank you very much for joining me today.
Hello, Maria. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much. First of all, I'm very happy to see you, as indeed we used to work together several years ago. I'm happy to see all the audience. And yes, thank you very much for inviting me to your channel. Thank you.
Thank you. Ilya, you have an exceptional experience in fertilizers trading, which lasts, correct me if I'm wrong, already almost for 30 years.
30 years, exactly, yes.
Yeah. So that's why exactly today I would like to discuss with you a role and place of a trading company in our modern world, which is obviously transforming quickly. And our industry is not an exception to that. Very often I hear from people both inside our industry and especially outside, for example, from our end users, from the farmers, that trading companies are not actually needed in the chain. What is their added value, they ask, except making money on us? And there are quite a lot of such myths circulating around trading companies' activity. So I propose to discuss some of those myths and see if we bust some of them and maybe support this point of view. So the first, and I think perhaps the most widespread myth that I at least hear is the following. Trading companies don't bring enough added value. That's why they are not needed between producer and consumer. So what is your view upon that? What are the reasons for trading companies to exist at all in our fertilizers, let's say, world?
Yes, quite a good question indeed. So just you are not the only one probably who's hearing these kind of talks, and they've been around the market for many years, as many years, and I'm here. So I kept on hearing that's what is the add value. And when people ask me this question, I always say that, well, definitely, especially in our modern world where everything is so quickly and you have like a lot of tutorials, you can take like different courses, you can go here and there and everywhere. I always say that, for instance, when you like, okay, you have just probably not a good example, but if you're just suffering from some kind of a disease or whatever, right? Are you curing yourself or just actually you trying to do something? No, you just actually go to the professional. Yes, you go to a professional who's a certified professional who knows how to cure it, who knows how to do that. The same is happening. I mean, when you go to buy veggie or meat or whatever, you're not going directly to a farmer. You can actually do if it's your fellow friend, but rest of the time you just actually buy it from the intermediate, right? So the same is happening to the fertilizers world. So we as traders, we have an exception value, right? So because we actually connect people together, right? So I think that's actually we'll discuss further on. So if people can skip this connection, but at the present, I believe so. We are just the part of the chain, like all others, right? So we do make a lot of efforts. Just we're taking the risk, we're taking positions, we're driving this market, right? Because if it was only just back-to-back markets, so most probably you'd be sitting on the fence and in the stalling position. But we as the traders, well, yes, it's right. So sometimes we as the traders, we're not probably that much interested to see if this market going up and down. We just need to see the swings, and we try to create these swings. This is probably just one of the negativity either buyers or sellers see among our existence. But we drive this market. Just we're this locomotive, right, for this market, and this is the add value which we have. We keep this market spinning.
Indeed, fully agree. Maybe let's get a deeper dive into each, part of into each link of this chain and see what added value trading is bringing to each of those chains.
Definitely.
For example, producers, everything starts from the production. Producers produce the product. What is the added value for producer to work via trading company? Because they can simply go, to a large agri holding company in Ukraine or in France or large buyer in Brazil and propose their goods directly. So what is the added value here?
Exactly. So okay, I do remember an example from my past with Oshem Group, right? So just you remember, we were huge producers of urea and ammonium nitrate and everything. So, but at the same time, so I used to work for an Zug-based trading company, which was a trading arm of Oshem Holding, right? So, and actually, we cared about the selling at the best possible price. And I remember that was a situation when we were waiting for a market to go in cap, and we kept on waiting. The stock was building up until our shareholder gave us a call and saying that we were obliged to clean this stock in like 2 weeks' time, otherwise the production would stop. So what is, in my humble opinion, since that time, I do believe that one of the main task or one of the main goals of any producer is to produce by 105% of their nameplate capacity. That's it. You care as long as, of course, it's money making, right? So just if you're talking about the loss, then of course you cut your production, just you maintain your expenses, whatever. But for the main urea producers, which are located in Russia, in Middle East, in Nigeria, it's still a very much cost effective, right? So they just actually need to think about keep on producing, having this cash flow going, etc., right? Working capital. Yes, it's good, but can you borrow all this money from the banks? Probably yes, but probably not. So you need to have someone in between you and the consumer who would be just going to finance, to ship on time, to take risk, to execute it, and to help you produce at your max capacity. Who do this job? Traders do, right? Now, let's go to other part. Let's go to the consumers. You're absolutely right. So this is one of your podcasts saying that we actually have the oversupply of urea in the world. It's not a secret, right? So this year is a little bit exceptional because we have China over the market. But let's assume for the moment when we have Chinese keep on exporting, so we have an excess of urea. This is true. If I am a farmer, do I need to buy by big pieces? No, I'm just actually going hand to mouth. So I only buy what I need. And if you just meet 1, 3, 5, 10, even big producers like that, consumers like that, can you force them to buy a whole vessel from you? Most probably not. So, and this is what we see what's happening in Brazil today, right? When traders load the vessel, put this vessel on the vessel on the water, and keep on selling from her on the way to Brazil. This is how it goes, right? So like the same we see happening in Europe, in the European Union, when traders do have warehouses where they put the product and they keep on selling. It's a little bit more like a retail these days, but this is the value of a trader. So the trader, again, it's not the only one who is taking the risk of financing. It is the one who is connecting the buyer and the seller.
Exactly. And coming back to this question of added value for producers, so there are two, as per my humble opinion, there are two major types of trading companies that exist now in the market. First is like independent trading companies. They can be large, they can be small, they can be global, they can be regional. And the other group is the in-house traders. As you mentioned, NF Trading was an in-house trader for Osthem company. And the same, many large producers are now going this way, like Yara, for example, is the largest trading company in the world, at the same time being the largest producer, one of the largest producers in the world, or Eurochem, or there are many other examples. So what do you think, which strategy is actually more widespread now in terms of trading? So will large producers move to this strategy more and more, or there will be always a large bunch of independent trading houses who will be doing this job for the large producers?
Well, that's absolutely right. So yes, we see like I do call it like a merge of a trading and production, as you right mentioned. So that's a beautiful example, as you said, as you mentioned, and like obviously just we can see like lots, like a half a dozen, the names of trading companies associated with producers, which is the way, and we've been seeing that for quite a long time already, right? So just it's not a secret, and in my humble opinion, this is indeed the way which the market develops. Yes, it puts under pressure as small trading houses, like for example, GG Trading is a rather small house if you compare it to all others. But at the same time, I do believe that there will be always a window of opportunities for the traders to bring the add value to a producer, like any producer, right? Because the small houses, we're just a little bit more particular in what we're doing. So I'm not just trying to say that we have to compete the big one. It's like comparing apples and oranges, right? So yes, I'm not ashamed to call GG Trading at the second time like a second tier trader. We're trying to be somewhere jump on the higher league, but we need to go like in football. Just before going to the Premier League, you need to play the championship. You need to qualify for the Premier League. So that's here we are growing. We're trying to qualify for the bigger league. But I would say that we do some job with the big trading houses, even the houses which are associated with the producers, sometimes don't have a glance at. For whatever reason, they maybe just actually don't have an appetite for this one. They maybe have no time, or they may be just busy with the moving millions of ton around the market. And we have like, I mean, the beautiful examples. I can again name a half of the dozen of the names of the companies who started at the small trading houses, grew up, didn't merge any producer. I mean, kept on growing. And today, these are the successful and big companies. So just make the story short, there is always a possibility.
Yeah, there is always place for different players in the market, that's for sure.
Exactly.
That's for sure. Okay, so first myth, I think a bit busted. There is added value, obviously. Yes, we've done that. There is added value.
Uh,
We cannot really say that there is none. Uh, and the second thing that I wanted to touch, so if this first myth, I think always existed, like it existed 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, when you joined the industry, when I joined the industry, and it exists still today.
you
I think
remember how we tried to skip the traders? We tried to skip the
it's
yeah, we did try to skip the traders. We were sometimes successful, but most of the times, like we were calling them, especially when the market was not going well, just like, shh, off the market, buy from me something. I mean, I'll give you a good price.
yeah, so that is clear. So if this was always in place, I think the second myth, which arises now, it is more connected with kind of new technologies that are entering the market. So our industry is not an exception, of course. The world is moving on, and here is this myth that I'm again hearing from different parties. Trading companies can be easily replaced with procurement platforms. There are a
Mhm.
number of such procurement platforms currently in works. I haven't heard any of them really like, making a full start of business. Maybe I don't know something, but obviously this is a future. I mean, it is moving towards procurement platforms,
Mhm.
which are aimed to connect directly buyers and sellers. That's exactly what we just discussed. So what do
Mhm.
you think? Will traders start slowly dying because of that, increasing digitalization or not? So which functions of traders, these procurement platforms, will not be able to replace, as to your opinion?
Let's start from the end, right? The first of all, I mean, I'm a big fan of modern technologies, a big fan. So really, I believe that digit is a future in many other mm, industries, including ours. Just they will be taking a big chunk of a business probably one day. But let's start from the last. We have personal relations. Whatever happens, it is a business of personal relations. Like, well, I like to say that we have these musical chairs, right? When the people changing companies, but this is like going exactly. I just have a good example for this every time. When you, let's say, a link to investment bank, somebody just who is looking after your finance. So just you trust the guy, right? So you give him your money. This guy, he keeps on investing it in the different stocks or bonds, whatever. He just brings you money. He's good at his business, right? And then one day he calls you and he says, like, I stopped working at ABC and I go to XYZ fund. But I mean, I just actually promise you that you will have the same kind of income or revenue, maybe even higher. So I do trust the guy. So for me, the name of the company doesn't matter. I work with a person personally, with this guy personally, right? So the same happens more or less with especially with the consumers, right? So just like if I keep on selling to a person for many years, and the person has been satisfied by the service provided by the company I used to work for, when I change the company and I say like I will provide you the same service, most probably my customer will follow me, right? That's what we say. You can't do that if you don't have a face behind the trade. I mean, if you do it through the platform, okay, definitely, like Amazon works perfectly, but do we see Amazon selling like a big stuff, like a vessel of fertilizers? No, we don't see it. The platforms are good, especially when you just actually need to buy like a container or two or three. The business which doesn't require a lot of financing, I mean the big financing. So then probably yes, within the one platform, you are able to put the buyer and the seller together. You probably just put together a financing company who would like to finance it. You just actually can automatize a checking through the chain, the set of the documents to just avoid any fraud. But then it's a question, what happens if you have a quality problem? Who's going to deal with a quality problem? What happens if you're not satisfied with the product by itself, with appearance, with torn big bags or bags, or just like some impurities in the product? Who's going to do that? How do you do that? You say, okay, you can probably just have an insurance company to do that. But even the insurance company, then you will spend probably like months, if not years, trying to recuperate. We know how the insurance company works. No offense. But this is their job. They're not giving money away easy. I mean, they fight for this money. That's why we say so. Just like we are all human beings. That's why we just still attend and gathering at all these conferences. We know each other, right? So again, the platforms will definitely be there. But among the platforms I know, we're still talking more over traders working for the platforms who physically call as brokers. And they put up people together within their platform. They charge a commission. Is it like a fully automatized? I'm not sure. So like it's still person to person and personal relations business. That's what I think. That's you cannot substitute people. I mean, the fertilizer industry is one of the industries which will be always existing on the personal relations. Again, my opinion, but it's been justified for 30 years.
Fully agree. From also my point of view, it's exactly the key thing which will never change. But, you know, when I look at the younger generation, which comes not only in the industry, I mean, in general, what I see is that more and more this personal relationship in general is valued less compared to us. Of course, it's not gone, but, you know, messaging prevails calling or personal meeting to, yes, to a certain extent. So what I'm thinking to myself, yes, our clients with whom we work, you and I work now, let's say, yes, of course, they will move together with us to whatever another trading company that we go, or they will move with us, they will do business with us. But what happens when the industry will be more and more filled with this new generation? What do you think? Will this trend, let's say, move more into this platform type of, or still you believe that personal relationship will win?
Good question. So again, I'm still a believer in personal relations. I'm still a believer in personal relations, but obviously, just it's not a question like we are all. Unfortunately, I don't know that. Just I mean, I like talking, so I still spend like most of the time. But I mean, recently it's not just talking; it's more like a voice messages, right? But still, when you hear the voice of a person on the other side of the phone, you can still feel the mood, the vibes. I mean, the text probably you can't do that completely, but I mean, I still like talking to the person. I mean, old style. Yeah, well, they communicated more and more over the messengers because it's also time saving. Honestly, I never thought that if this kind of communication will completely substitute live talk, which I mean still over the voice. Well, we're going there. Really, really hard question for me to just reply immediately, right? I'm a believer that we still will be talking. I mean, I think that all these young generations, as soon as they face problems, they will have guts to pick up the phone and call. So because sometimes when you have a problem and they stop responding to you, Jesus, I mean, I become furious.
Right. And I'm just trying to imagine the conferences of tomorrow. Maybe we will be present there with our holograms, who knows?
How I know
I want to leave until
time
then.
saving. What's about drinking then?
That's the problem. That's the key problem for sure. They should somehow also solve it for us, I think. Okay, so again, the second myth I think is busted. So yeah, there is place for
Like
everything.
partly busted. So just I
Busted,
was
right.
busted.
There is place for both, I think. For as you said very rightly, large deals is one animal, smaller deals another animal. We'll see how it goes with time.
Like we just discussed. I mean, we have like the top tier
Right.
traders, we have like second tier traders. The same in here. So just it's a beauty, isn't it, that you have room for everyone. So like even for the modern technologies, if you'd like to buy on a platform, go for that.
Exactly. So moving to the next myth. And I think the next myth is connected to the thing which the whole mankind likes to do the most, as I think. It is counting someone else's money. That is very, very widespread thing. So there is such a view that trading companies take the largest chunk of money in the deal, in any deal, and thus, actually, fertilizers for end consumers become that expensive in the final markets. So that is the myth which I hear from many, many markets all the time. And so maybe you can uncover the largest mystery, how much money actually trading company earns per average deal, for example, or maybe as a target for a year. So how it's done? What is the myth there?
Again, let's look at the different types of a company, of a trading company, right? When you have like a huge company, I'm not giving the names, but let's put you are a huge multinational single product company. Well, when you just actually concentrate, okay, on urea, of course, yes, because I mean the biggest world traded commodity in fertilizers is urea. You're like a trading company, single product, concentrated on urea, so just like, and you need to have this ball running, right? So just actually you need to do it, because only by making the big volumes you have a possibility to influence this market, to take this market, just make these swings from going short to long and vice versa, and making money, right? So just I have like a nice beautiful joke when the two invest bankers sitting before the screen that's in front of the screens, and one guy is just asking another one, can you tell me how much it's going to be 2 plus 2? And he says, depends on if we're selling or buying. So the same in here. So just, you need to be either long or short. So, and obviously, these companies, they are the trend makers, right? So, and sometimes they have to go into the deal just for a deal, not necessarily because they do it, because they are leaders, because they are market makers, and they understand that maybe now they have to buy this junk, pay a top expensive price in order to protect their previous positions. The same is going like applied when they're short. At the same time, we have like smaller companies, we have a privilege to look at the deals, which like give them a better marginality, right? So, I mean, that's very special deals. It may be some deals which do demand more skills, more involvement in transportation and financing, or any other thing, but they give you money, right? So just actually, and you don't have to jump on the deals which is like $1 or 2 or 3, right? So again, it depends on your size, it depends on your goal, it depends on your presence. We've seen many times like the companies going from the top to the bust. Unfortunately, we've seen in our life. At the same time, just you have an opportunity, especially these days, especially when you have so many, unfortunately, you have so many conflicts going on, and each of these conflicts, they do influence on the marginality. And if you're on the right side of the trend, you can make huge money, but albeit you can lose this money. So that's what I say. This myth that the trading companies are always making money, it's a big mistake. Let's recall 2008, right? So when I would probably say 95% of the trading companies were long, and they lost just a bunch of money when the 2008 crisis in the United States happened, right? So just, I don't know a single company who didn't lose money that time. I don't know. So again, but did these companies walk away on their obligations? They didn't. So what is their add value? That they executed their contracts towards the producers, right? Towards those who sold them, because they understand that if today they work on the contract, tomorrow nobody is going to talk to them. Have I seen the final users working off the contracts? Yes, we saw it, like especially several countries it happened, especially when we have so many swings, right? But this is how we say, this is coming back to the myth number one, the add value of a nice, stable, and responsible trading company. That's obligations, always staying behind the obligations.
Exactly. And they need to eat even the worst position, let's say, that they had. And of course, they will, at certain point, they will earn more. So
I always say, I mean, just this is what I was taught by my first boss. She used to tell me that don't count money in other pocket, count in yours, right? So just obviously I am happy when everybody earns. I don't have a task to squeeze to the last penny. Also, I like to bargain. I mean, obviously, just I always try to be fighting for to get the best price on the buying side, on the selling side. But I understand that if I squeeze somebody to the end today, tomorrow was going to be my add value. If the guy is going nuts today just because, I mean, he doesn't earn or he has to sell to me, I won't probably do that. So just I try to make it a kind of a mutual agreement situation.
yeah, that's the only way perhaps to move forward. Maybe you can uncover one more largest mystery in your specifically practice. What was your best deal and what was your worst deal? No names, of course, but just to give an example of how good and bad times can be for a trader, for trading company.
2008. So yes, I was working for the US-based company, trading company. So unfortunately, we lost a lot of money that time. So we had several positions holding. Mainly, of course, it was urea. So that was really, really bad. And but some of the good of like, I mean, exceptional margins also happened not long ago. Yeah, on the swings, which happened again. I'm sorry to say that it was due to the political tensions. Really sorry to say that, but at the same time, just I also have my philosophy, right? So just actually, I have people behind the back which I have to feed, the employees, the families. So yes, I'm taking an opportunity to earn when I see this opportunity.
Cool. I see. I see. Thank you. So we already touched a bit on that because I mean all of those questions obviously they are very much interconnected. When we talk about added value, you already mentioned there are certain risks related to the trading activity, which is exactly those added value points that a trader has compared to all other links of the chain, let's say. So there is certain myth again that trading companies in fact are not risking anything because at any the result will be exactly the same for any deal for them. They will always take their margin this or that way. Final buyers will always bear the full cost of the increased price. That is the myth. And as per your experience, which risks, maybe you can name exactly all those risks which a trading company bears and how which instruments the trading company has or has to use in order to hedge those risks?
Well, the first of all, the price fluctuation, right? So just again, let's see, just we're talking about I like just breaking the companies in the tiers, right? So just especially when you like a position trading company, which is like you still have to be a position trading company. So yes, there is still room to make just back-to-back business. But well, I tell you that it takes like quite a long of time to put these deals together on the more or less safe basis. When we're talking about the trading company who is actually always taking a margin, taking a profit, we must probably talking about just this back-to-back deal, which sometimes a deal can take you the several months of consistent work. When you're trying to put it together, get an LC from your buyer, just like be sure that your seller is supplying, etc., etc., etc. So what are the risks which we as trading companies bear? The first of all, that's the risk of production. Anything can happen. That was recently happened to me at the beginning of the year when a factory which we bought a product from just suffered technical issues. And it was not like a common product like urea, when you can actually can cover by buying from a different destination or from a different producer at a different price by just, again, biting this bullet. It was a specific product which had to be supplied within a specific time because of the seasonality, right? So just application. And I had to travel to a beautiful place of Kazakhstan for several times. So just like back and forth. And for me today, it is like about 11 hours travel, not just a flight, but a travel. So this is the risk number one. So you're linked, and you can imagine we had prepaid quite a substantial amount of money to the factory, right? So just the first, this is the risk of the production, the risk that the production is going well. The second, obviously the risk of timing, which is related to the production, that you have to be on time according to your contract. What happens if producer gets delayed? Then a financial risk. A financial risk, because today 80% of the trade of the producers worldwide, even when we're talking to the big companies, right, like Sabic, for instance, they do demand some kind of a prepayment. Some of them just actually ask for 100% prepayment. Some of them just I'm going on the 20% prepayment, but you still have to find this money. And believe me, the banks these days are not that friendly as they used to be, especially like 5 years ago, where you could just actually could have a trade finance. The trade finance is like squeezing you to the end, and it's not only the problem of cost, it's only a question of availability of the trading finance. So the trading finance you have. Then the freight costs, that's the sea market freight, right? So we just recently, 2 weeks ago, when this Israeli-Irani things escalated, so we immediately saw the price of bunker going up, and the freight increased substantially. So it's maybe going down now, but if you have to ship that particular moment, you have to pay out, right? This is like a good example from 2007, when we saw an escalation of the prices before they collapsed in 2008. We had a position of Russian MAP that time from the port of Nikolaev. When you tell this story now, the people would even believe that it's one day it was possible, right? So that was a Russian MAP, monoammonium phosphate, was sitting in the warehouse at the port of Nikolaev, and we saw like quite an interesting situation. The same moment when the price of a commodity was going up, so playing for us, the same exact time the freight was going up as well. So we ended up almost the same margin we had planned at the beginning. Yeah, because like whatever we gained on the price, we lost on the freight. So that's how it goes. I mean, and believe me, I'm not the only one facing this situation. And of course, you always have a risk of your counterparty on that side, on the default from a buyer, right? So because some of the countries you simply can't have a letter of credit from. So like Brazilians, they never in my life issued a single LC. Maybe they did, but not to me, right? So the same with Argentina, a beautiful country, but which has been exposing a risk, a political risk and currency exchange rate for decades now, right? So, but it's a big buyer. So, well, that's all the risk you have. So from the point A to the point Z, like you can't avoid it. Going to the risk, how do you hedge it? Well, if we're talking about like a product which can be bought from another producer, well, technically you always have a second solution, right? So just, okay, if this producer is failing for whatever reason, so or delaying, I can cover it by buying from somebody else, but delivering my obligations. But again, if you're not talking about like a special product or just a product with a unique specifications, especially now we're talking all these specialties, etc. When you have like a limited number of producers, right? The freight, freight, you can hedge the freight through the paper market, through the paper derivatives. There are several companies who do offer this service. So in this case, you can just do it. Well, the sales side,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you do that? I mean, you yourself, do you do it for your business, or how often do you do it?
Yes, I don't hedge a freight myself. but I always just have an opinion of my broker. Just actually, I have several brokers. So I have a broker which is dealing like with the handy sizes and the bigger vessels, and I have a broker who is dealing with smaller vessels. I always ask their opinion. I follow the market every day. This is part of my job, so I follow the freight market every day just to understand what kind of developments we should expect, what kind of freight I have to put in the calculation. I always try to be that's on the high side. I never shrink freight, just think, okay, so if I'm given with a broker like $30, the broker, he put like another 5 on top, so we fix it 30. No, I just follow that. That's kind of the rules. So just I follow these advices, and I'm trying to fix as early as possible, just to within my budget, of course. If I'm within my budget, so then I'm fine. I make this fixture, and I sleep well at night, right? So just concentrate on the execution. Yeah, because I mean the execution is a big part, right? So just you have to follow like inland transportation.
The largest part, perhaps, yes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Then, well, for us, it's also very important because I mean we work with the credit money, and when we prepay for a product, we would like to have a control over this product for almost within the whole chain, buying from a factory. If we just can provide our own rail cars, we do it because it means that we do control it. We go to the port, we do control the loading. We charter the vessel, we control the shipment until we're paid. And if something happens, we control the cargo. We can divert this cargo, right? So obviously LC is the best part, or some prepayment is the best part. Then depends on the LC. You have to confirm LC. It's a bunch of stuff to do, like a bunch of costs we have, and we're still managing to make money. So that's we're doing a good job. So, but that's how I say. And of course, back to the hedge, personal relations.
Exactly.
Personal.
And how about hedging the risk of volatility of the market pricing, which we see every day?
I love this topic. I would love to have it, and using this possibility, just addressing this message to the big amounts of people. Guys, please go and participate on the paper trade derivatives, because by us playing more and more, we just create liquidity. We definitely know the options and futures which do exist in the agriculture commodities. We have a possibility to develop the same in fertilizers, but we need more liquidity, right? So I see that this market perfectly works in the US. Well, if not perfectly, but much more active in the US, because you have like a bunch of the players who do exchange barges, who do trade barges almost daily, and like it's good for everyone. So at least you can also speculate on that one. But when you go just to Brazil, can you imagine me going to sell in Brazil something like a vessel of 25,000 just to hedge it? I would probably just actually blow up this market by saying that somebody is desperate to sell, and this market will go down, and the paper market does have an influence on the physical market, at least like mentally one. So when the people see paper collapsing, we see like, I mean, most of the times when the paper goes ahead of the physical sales, right? Either one way or another. Like so we do need a liquidity. We do need a liquidity. We have like several established brokers, the brokers who've been in this market for like 20 years. They're successful, they're trustful. You can secure it through your payment through CME. You can do it like standby LC. That's a lot of the things how you can secure the payment, but we need more players for this market, more players.
Okay, and how to hedge this risk? I think it's really unhedgeable, but still, how to hedge the risk of bad performance of your counterparty? How do you do it, let's say?
Well, make KYC, definitely. Just KYC. That's a very important three letters these days. And if in the past it was just more like for the profile, but these days I'm always trying to see the past performance. I Google companies. It's easy now. Just like when I have a new company or the new name or whatever, I go in Google. You have LinkedIn, you have Google. It's a free source of information which you can collect. Vice versa. It happened like recently. Again, we are talking to some fund. and a private fund who will just actually give us some money to finance our operations. And I have a call from a friend of mine from Switzerland saying, I mean, okay, I have somebody who's been checking on you, just calling me just because they see that we're the friends on LinkedIn. So they called me to check if you're like trustable, credible, etc., etc. So that's how you collect your information, know your counterparty, just collect everything. If you work on an open credit, it costs you nothing to ask for the credit risk, right? And this is a very interesting fact. I mean, you don't need always to buy this credit insurance risk, right? But if you have a company who is your counterparty and you ask to provide credit insurance, and you have like 5 companies going to sell you this insurance, that means it's really good. But if there is only one company and asking a huge premium, maybe this company who's your potential counterparty has some, let's say, secrets in the wardrobe. So be careful about that one. Collect information. If you just actually can have a letter of credit or some kind of a guarantee, that will be even better.
Yes, that is ideal.
But we're talking, well, I believe there is an ideal world.
Sure.
So I would dream of
It happens not all the time.
Exactly.
So moving to the final part that I wanted to ask you, actually, taking into consideration everything that we discussed, so many points that we have touched upon, and using your vast experience in the topic, what would you recommend to someone who is now choosing a trading partner? Maybe for just one deal, maybe for a regular trading partner.
Call me.
Indeed. So, just exactly as you mentioned for KYC for your buyer counterpart, what would you recommend to do when you choose a purchasing, or maybe not choose, maybe it is already given to you, someone is selling something to you. What would you recommend to do? How to make sure that this trading company is reliable and it will work through what it's promised?
Well, the same procedure. Make your KYC, right? So just actually see who the people, ask their past performance. The same like we're doing the chartering. In the chartering, when you just actually go to charter a vessel, that's a ship owner will probably ask you for the past performance, and they go to check with their fellow friends, ship owners, how was your past performance? Was it good? Just like payments, documents providing, services, etc., etc. So the same in here. Just obviously, again, this is a very personal business. I mean, we recently started GG trading. The GG trading is like less than a year, but I have like a lot of clients from the previous experience as sellers, as buyers as well, right? So, just don't be lazy to collect information, because I believe that more than digital, information is ruling the world these days. Just when you have an information, you have an access to just most of the beautiful things in this world, right? So collect informations, make your calls, go to meet a person if you have a possibility, because sometimes like a one handshake and one mutual conversation, you're not better than me, right? It costs you a lot. So it can be like a beginning of a real nice relations on the friendship and cooperation, or it may be like no go thing, just if you don't like in person. Yeah, so collect information. Just work with your information. Don't be lazy. And obviously, let's put it this way, try to put your hands on the deal all the time. So don't take it away. So your hand and your eye. So that's this is what you need, right? So just even when you think that everything is going fine and is in execution, just keep on not controlling, but keep on looking at these things during the whole chain, because that gives you this small detail will give you like a bell if something goes wrong at the early stage. And then you just can deal with the smaller damage or the smaller problem than when you just go on scene at the end of the show.
Exactly. And also your counterpart in this case knows that you are indeed the best professional in the world because you keep on, watching and doing even sometimes even not your job, I would say. Just,
Execution.
making the smooth cooperation.
Don't forget that we're not just trading fertilizers, we're not just trading commodities. We sell our services. And at the end of the day, if a counterparty is satisfied with the services as well with the quality of the product, this is probably a kind of a warranty for the next deal.
Indeed.
Like you're not selling the car, right? You're selling
Right.
a car, you're selling a service, and you're selling another car in 3 years. Same like with us. So we're not selling just a vessel, we're selling a vessel, a service, and maybe another vessel. That's it.
Right, that's it. I want to thank you very much, Ilya. It was a pleasure and it was fun talking to you. And I will be very, very happy to host you here again to discuss a lot more topics because there are plenty of topics that we can cover. And I think we should uncover these for the generations to come in our industry, but not only them, but also to our existing counterparts. So thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. And to GG.
Let's talk when GG jumps from the tier 2 to the tier 1.
Oh, I wish that it happens, as smoothly as possible and as quickly as possible. I wish you that.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Maria. You have a beautiful time. Absolutely follow Maria. She is doing an absolutely great job. Thank you, guys.
Thank
you.
you.
Was a pleasure here. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. As usually, I will leave all credentials of Ilya and GG Trading in the comments. Please let me know which other questions related to trading, its place in the supply chain we haven't discussed, and you would like to make a deeper dive, and I will be very glad to discuss those with Ilya again. Please subscribe to the channel, put like to this video, and see you soon.